Hi everyone, Tom here, and I just wanted to quickly re-record a talk I did at Tokyo Indies the other day. This was about teaching mechanics before the game even starts, and it's lessons what I learned while making my game Carpoon. I formerly made sale banners that were a lot like Google Doodles. I drew them, and I designed graphics and thumbnails for YouTube. Now, what's Carpoon? It's my twin-stick car harpooning party game for 1 to 4 players. I've been working on it as primary developer for over 5 years now, part-time, and the music's composed by the wonderful Matthew Kierkegaard. Aiming for Steam, it's on early access on itch.io, and it's local multiplayer only, so I didn't spend another 6 years working on it. Now, the main thing I had to kind of teach in Carpoon to players is to hold the left trigger to drag cars, not to just press it repeatedly as seen on the left here to kind of like a typical firing mechanic. I wanted to avoid that. So a big part of that was creating this player select and menu settings area. This is the menu of Carpoon, and I'm going to get to why that was important. But the main thing, though, is I didn't want a long and super boring menu. This was the original menu of Carpoon. I find it a bit tedious when you have 3 players waiting and 1 selecting the options. Or 4 players trying to select everything at once. So I moved on from that to an early player select screen here where everyone could kind of test out controls in a quarter of the map before the game even started. And one of my friends somehow managed to harpoon across the gap. He shouldn't have been able to do that. So this led me to think, though, that, hey, maybe everyone should be able to interact with each other before the game, leading to this open space for player select and settings. As you can see, you got levels and modes that you can harpoon for each option. This was a bit inspired by the game Treadnoughts. I remembered in Treadnoughts, before the game began, you could kind of mess around in the player select screen, although I didn't look back at the time to see exactly how they did it. I just kind of vaguely remembered, like with my fuzzy memory. Now, probably midway through Carpoon's development, I got the chance to do a 64-player tournament at the Linus Tech Tips Expo in 2023. I learned during this time, though, I was kind of needed to explain things in person during a demo. It's time to try to do that less and have more tutorials built into Carpoon. Tournament players also, while testing out the controls frantically because there was a phone on the line, they were changing options all over the place. That's not ideal when you're trying to do a tournament with set settings. I wanted to try to avoid that. So the update after, players had to latch on to signs for about half a second before they would change. This mostly works. It's not quite perfect, but it's a lot better than it was before. Also, between the player select and the game itself, I added a tutorial and objective screens. That one on the top left, they actually only see once, going from the title screen to the player select screen. But people don't usually read this screen. They don't usually read at all, or they gloss over it. It helps a bit, but not quite enough. So to build on it, I added a start button to teach the hold mechanic. This way, players kind of have to know about holding the harpoon button before a match. This also wasn't perfect, though. Some players kept hitting it repeatedly, and it didn't teach the dragging mechanic that I wanted to convey for dragging cars. So iterating again, and thanks to bringing Carpoon to different events, one of my smart friends suggested a lever. Or at least he forgot after, but I'm pretty sure he did, or a conversation we had led to this. And so this requires dragging, and it's a neat, I find, like a little unique way to have a tutorial without a tutorial before the match begins. Usually I find if one player gets it in a multiplayer game, then the other 3 players will follow. All these sort of factors build up to learning the mechanics of Carpoon, and I hope seeing this you can maybe think of your own tutorial without a tutorial for your own game. Quickly, some great multiplayer examples for what are called, I guess, warm-up screens. Here are Duck Game and Astro Duel 2. It's both games require the players to use all the necessary controls before going into a match. It's an excellent way to do it. Astro Duel 2 is even like a game in itself to get to the other side before the match begins. But in reflection, I should have been seeking similar games to see how they did their tutorials. These are other games where you have to hold down the button and latch onto objects. Heave Ho was the first of the bunch. This is one I definitely have played. It's an amazing game. And looking back, they use a lot of icons. It's okay to use text. That's one thing I was maybe avoiding, but could add in. In all these games, and in the previous ones, like every single player has to do the required action before the game moves on. Another quick option is you can add an attract mode, the classic NES style where if you don't press any buttons on the title screen, it shows gameplay to give an idea how to play the game. This is Mooncat from UFO 50. Now here are some pros and cons quickly about what I thought worked well and what I could have done better in Carpoon. I won't read them over because it's going to take a while, but I think I did a pretty good job getting the menu and player select settings on one screen. And thank you very much. Please wishlist Carpoon on Steam. Hopefully out this summer. Take care, everyone. Goodbye.